Hey guys, Chef Mark here. I love a really nice slow roasted pork. Today we're going to do it Asian style. I need to grab my pork roast here, and we're going to grab a pork shoulder, also known as a pork butt, one and the same. We're going to apply some marinade to this and then cook it really nice and slow. It's going to be fall apart tender, nice crispy juicy bits. Perfect. All right, the next thing we need to add to our dish here is going to be our Asian style barbecue sauce. This has a little bit of orange, some sesame to it, and just a little bit of kick, although we'll deal with that in a second. Perfect addition to this barbecue. Okay, the last two items I'm going to grab for my dish here. First one is going to be our sesame oil. Make sure you grab the roasted one. This is going to be for our dipping sauce. And then for that extra kick I talked about, it's going to be our chili garlic sauce here. My house, we call this green lid. Adds the perfect amount of spice to any dish. You can even dip potato chips in it if you want to. Let's go cook this thing. All right, now we're gonna put this whole thing together. I've got my pork shoulder here and my marinade. I need to put this on the marinade overnight, so it's actually gonna cure. Some flavors are gonna get deep down inside. So the first thing we're gonna do is you can take a knife on the fat side. So this is a fat cap, which when we roast this is gonna render out a lot of that fat in there, get really nice and crisp, provided you give it a spot to release. So we're gonna take about 3/4 of an inch deep, a knife all along the top, and we're going to do that whole ham thing where you make that crisscross marks along the top. And what this allows that to do, like I just mentioned, is that fat's going to release over this 8-hour long cooking time, that really nice slow 275 degree cooking time we use. So it's going to create a little bit of a crust and allow a lot of that fat to render off. But what it also does is when I take my marinade here, it allows it to penetrate and cure on the inside of that. So what I'm using is a 1/4 cup each of my vegetable oil, our soy sauce, our garlic chili sauce, some ground ginger, and we're going to use a little bit of sugar in there as well. And then we're simply going to mix this all together. We're going to put it over the top, and we're going to get our hands dirty. We're going to put a little bit on the top. Get down in there with it and rub it on each of those little marks where we've scored it, along the sides, along the bottom. We're going to let this sit overnight, and it's going to penetrate on the inside. The next day we're going to roast it. So a little bit on the sides and the bottom. And then the last thing we do is we're going to, just to help that penetrate, we're going to roll this up with the plastic wrap all along the top and the sides. If it happens to spill out, no big deal. We're going to cook this thing tomorrow. And I want to show you, I've got one of these done already here. And the way you're going to work it is you're going to take this whole thing here. It's going to be inside of a roasting pan. We pulled it out. It's got some caramelization, a little bit of candiness already happening on there. We're going to take this and put it in an oven at 275 degrees for about 7 or 8 hours or so. So this has been in the oven for about 7 or 8 hours, and the way you're going to tell that this is done between that 7 or 8 hours, and maybe it comes to 8.5 if it's even larger than that, is you're going to come in with your pair of tongs here and sort of tug at it a little bit, and you're going to feel that really pull apart, and that's what we're looking for, is that just to fall apart there. So, and you'll even see the bone sort of come out the side, and that gets a little bit loose. You know that thing's completely cooked all the way through and ready to come out of the oven. So once it's there, you're going to take half the bottle of your barbecue sauce, because you're going to reserve the other half to serve it with. But I want you to put this on the top, just baste it all over. We didn't do this in the beginning because it would cook too long and it would start to brown up a little bit, but we're going to take this, kind of like what I would do a meatloaf with the barbecue sauce. I would take this and we're going to put it in a 350 degree oven, this one for 15 minutes, so it's going to glaze up nice and start to char up just the slightest little bit. It's got a beautiful glaze on the outside. So in the oven, 15 minutes at 350. So we've been in the oven for 15 minutes at 350, and this is the result. We've got really gorgeous caramelized barbecue sauce on the top. It's created a very nice glaze over the top. This is going to be gorgeous. So last thing, we need to get this out of the pan, and just be careful with it. You can break it off in pieces if you felt like it. I'm feeling a little bit more adventurous today, so I'm going to come up with this whole thing. As you can see, this thing is just falling apart. We've got a couple pieces here even, and you know, I break out a knife, but do you really need one when this thing is so perfectly tender? And this thing is just gorgeous, falling apart. Beautiful pieces. sort of shredding apart. The nice thing about this, I've got some really nice crunchy bits on the outside. I'm gonna serve this with a little bit of barbecue sauce, that same Asian barbecue that I put on as a glaze. I'm doing a half mixture of equal parts soy sauce and sesame oil, that same roasted sesame oil, and a little bit of scallions. That's a great dipping sauce to do this with. I'm gonna serve this on the side, just sort of dip those two together. Great texture on the outside, a gorgeous glaze on the outside. I look forward to all those crunchy bits and that pull apart pork tenderness.